Hey crafty people, welcome back to my channel, and in case you're new here, I'm Sarah, also known as Craft Nerd because I'm a nerd who loves to craft. I do paper crafting, card making, junk journaling, and mixed media art. Let's get crafting! Oh, welcome back. In case you have not been watching my videos this month, I am participating in Ceri the Crafter's hashtag Mixed Media March 25 challenge. For that challenge, we're supposed to post a finished project each day in the month of March that incorporates gel printing, is rectangular in shape, has the number corresponding to the day, and that you sign your artwork. And if you did watch my video from a few days ago, I did some paper pieced dogs for calendars for my aunts for Christmas. And I really liked how they came out, so I decided I wanted to do a couple of canvases with pictures of my dogs. So these are the two inspiration pictures I use. So this is my dog Bert, who's my troublemaker, and this is my dog Powell, and this is so quintessentially him because that dog is constantly curled up in my lap under a blanket like that. Year round, we live in Florida. It's 95 plus degree weather in the summer. He still wants to be in my lap under a blanket. So I saw this picture. I'm like, this is so very Powell. So what I did was I actually used this photo for February's calendar pick. So I just took that drawing and printed it out again. Like I took a photograph of the drawing, printed it, sized it to 8x10 because that's the size canvas I'm using, and printed it out twice. Because if you didn't see my dog paper piecing video previously, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna glue the pieces of paper that I paper piece on to this guy who's cut out already. And I'm going to use this one for tracing the different pieces of paper that I'm going to cut out and paper piece. And then for Powell, I took his picture and I used my light box to kind of trace it. And this looks really kind of funky, but I suspect once we get into it and start refining everything and cutting pieces out, it's going to look less weird, I'm hoping, because right now, yeah, it looks a little weird, but I think it should turn out okay. So we are gonna do one of these today and one tomorrow, and because I'm still waiting for the photo of Powell's drawing to upload to the cloud, we're gonna start with Bert. And I'm not sure yet which background I want to use. So this is the finger paint paper that I've been using for gel printing, and all I did was crumple up some Amazon packaging and press it on my plate when I did these to get this texture look. So I did a purple and a pink, well, corally one, because I have some of the mixed media pieces I've made that I have hanging up in this room, which is where it's going to go, have coral and purple accents in them. Because if you saw the butterfly canvas I did, the background was kind of like a blue-green color, and it's blending a little too much in with the walls in my room, so I wanted something that was going to pop a little bit more. So I am going to start by covering one of the canvases with the coral piece, and then I'll probably do off-camera the other one just so that they're both done. And then that way, once I do the paper piecing of Bert, I can decide whether I like him better with the coral background or with the purple background. So let's go ahead, and what I'm going to use is my Liquitex Matte Gel. And I'm going to use a silicone spatula to apply it. And we are going to wrap the paper around. So it's big enough to wrap around this piece all the way. So I think we're gonna use that as our side crease there. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start by applying some of the matte gel. Now I am going to do a coat on top, but since I want to wrap it around. I think I'm going to do the wrapping before I do the top coat. This way I can flip this upside down to make it a little easier to do the wrapping part. And I can figure out if there's any spots that aren't actually glued down. All right, so we're gonna start over here with our wrapping. I'm gonna crease that up, and then I'm gonna run scissors along this line here. And do the same on this side. So we're going to fold over, do that. Now I'm going to apply my matte medium along here. Fold that up. Then I'm going to wrap it around. And I'm okay. I know I'm getting some wrinkles in, and I'm okay with that. It just adds a little bit more interest and texture. Now, what I'm going to do is trim off this flap here. Wrap this flap around and glue it down. And I'm gonna come over here and do the same thing on this side. And again, I'm gonna wrap this flap around over here. Gonna do the same thing on this side, although let's trim some of this off. This is way more than we need. So I'm just running the glue along here, in case you couldn't really tell from the angle. And I'm gonna fold this up. Cut along the edge to the canvas on both sides. Wrap this piece over. Now we're gonna cut away this excess here. And now we're gonna do these up and over, and what'll happen is we'll have covered corners from having done the wrap overs on the side. I'll show you again in a sec. So we'll have nice neat corners. I'll trim off any excess I've got overhanging. Let's do this side, which I can already tell this is going to be hanging off. So let's just go ahead and trim that little sliver off there. Woo. All right. That's all folded over nice and neat. I'm rubbing off some of the paint, it seems like. on my edges. All right, let's trim off the excess over here. Just go in and make sure everything's glued down well. All right, next step is I'm gonna do a coat on top. And part of me wants to add some more strips of the paper on the corners where I've like lifted up the paint. I don't know why it's lifting. I have a spot here. I can tell it's not glued down. So what I'm gonna do is take my fingertip blade, put a slice into my piece, go in, add more glue, and glue it down. Did not do a very good job in that area over here. That spot, I think I am going to put a little patch since I cut it open and now there's like that white spot. Yeah, that's better. It's really bugging me that like somehow I end up getting the paint off the edges there. Just gonna add some extra pieces on. I think that's good. I am gonna set this aside and let it dry completely. Ooh, let's not leave thick clumps anywhere. And actually I need to do the sides as well. I'm gonna set this one aside. I'm gonna cover my other canvas with the purple piece and then come back and start paper piecing Bert. Okay, so I've pulled out my various papers that I have used my jelly, that I've jelly printed for this. And I've got my traceable picture and some tracing paper or some graphite paper. Now, if you don't have graphite paper, what you can do is take a pencil, I'm trying to grab one as illustration, and turn it on its side and scribble on the back, and that will work similar to graphite paper. And I've already actually gone ahead and cut out almost all of the parts. I forgot I need to do his eyeballs, except his head, because I want to show you basically what I've been doing for this process. And for this one, I'm gonna try and kind of line up his face with the writing on this book page and then slip my graphite paper under. And then I'm just gonna trace, and I'm gonna go a little wonky on this just so I can attach the ears on top. And I found it works better if I go a second time over. I'm gonna draw these lines in because I'm gonna go over them with pen later. All right. So there we go. That blob is his face, and I'm gonna grab my scissors and just trim it out. Okay, so let's bring over our cutout Bert. What I'm gonna do before we start gluing stuff down is grab a brush and peacock feathers distress ink and ink the whole thing up. This way, if there's spots where I didn't cut it out exactly right, the gray paper underneath is not going to show through. And I'm going to ink anywhere where there's also going to be a seam between the papers. All right, now I did his body and I realized after I cut it out that I didn't do a very good job along his back. I'm trying to get it to line up right because I left big chunks. So I cut a little sliver off that I'm just going to glue along the back edge and then trim off the excess because there's really, the sliver's way more than I need, but that was the easiest to cut out. Realizing I know it's a little off over here, I'm going to add just a little bit more ink in this area. Before we glue the rest of the body down. And I know the feet are a little bit longer because of how I placed it, so we'll just trim off any excess after we're done. Erasing over here, that pencil line. Oops, and I'm pulling off some of the paint, I think. But that's a little bit better. And see, so what I can do is come around back here and trim off any excess that I think might be just a little too much on there. There we go. That piece I can trim off. And we get his hind leg can go there. I'm gonna add the glue here because I think it is gonna overhang a little at the bottom, and we're probably gonna trim it off because it'll look better. And we're going to go around this with black pen. Yeah, let's do a little trimming. That's too long, and that's too long. And this piece is a little too long. Actually, for this one, I'm gonna get my fingertip blade because I think it'll be easier to get than trying to do that with scissors. There we go. Let's glue, not his face, his tongue first, because I did his tongue a little bit bigger so that it would go underneath the little divot. I'm gonna come over here and just trim a little extra off there. And now we're gonna glue his tongue on. That's what happens when you trace on the lines, but don't quite cut all of that on the line. There we go. Okay, they quieted down. All right, let's add the tail. Now for the ears, I wanted to use this piece, which I think might have been a cleanup sheet, but I didn't like the fact that it was so see-through. So I cut the ears out of another gel print. And I started tracing this out and it was not going great. So what I figured I'd do is just glue this piece onto here and then trim out. And now I can just trim this out. That went horribly wrong. I don't know that I can pull it apart at this point. Nope. All right, we're just gonna go with it. Because yeah, that did not line up right. Oh no. Oh no. I cut out more than I should have over here. All right, here's the piece that I cut off. I think that's the piece that I cut off. We're just gonna glue that down. All right, that worked. I got it on. All right, so I did do the first layer of the eyeball, but I'm not sure if I'm liking it. I've got to cut out the second layer and we've got to see how it looks. So let's set those apart, and I need to grab another piece of paper for eyeballs. Okay, so this was option 1, and then I did white, and I really like the white way better than the book page, so we're going with option 2. What I'm gonna do is grab my quick stick, which has got sticky on one side, put glue, stick our eyeball down. Up with pulling off paint, which is fine because it'll get covered because I'm going to do a black dot in the center. Oh, I like it. I like it. All right, so let's pull over our pen. Let's get our pens. And what I'm gonna do is go around all of the piece with 0.5. Yeah, let's do a 0.5. So anywhere the piece joins up, I'm gonna trace around, because it helps it pop better. See how much better that is versus over here? So we're gonna outline everything. And when it's glued down on the canvas, I'll go around the outer edge. He came out so cute. All right. And I decided he's going to go on the purple canvas. And the reason why is because I realized in all likelihood for Powell, I'm going to do a purple blanket on him, which would not work with a purple background because it'd blend in together. So he's going to go there, and he'll pop more once we trace around him. I'm just trying to decide if I want to do some like stamping and details on here. And I'm feeling like I kind of do. I want to add a little bit more interest to the background. I feel like this stamp set, which is Fragments by Tim Holtz and Stampers Anonymous, it's CMS 368. Like stamping that there and adding a little bit of this over here might be what I'm looking for. So let's see, I've got a scrap piece of the purple that we cut off, if I can find it, that I can use as a test to decide which color I want, whether I want dusty Concord, which will give me that. Ooh, I like that. I'm sold on dusty Concord because that's seems to be a mouthful right now. That did not stamp very well. I think because I'm not getting enough pressure in the non-edged spots. All right, so we've got to hand stamp it. Didn't come out exactly as I would have liked over there, but that's okay. And this is archival ink because I'm stamping on paint, so I want something a little more permanent than the distress ink that will just pretty much rub off. Because I can see it's beaded up a little bit, so it's gonna take a little bit before it's fully dry. Now I want to do some white to just lighten up the background a little bit. I think I'm gonna have to do that with paint. So I think I'm gonna pause here for this evening and pick back up tomorrow because I can pull out my gel plate because I was planning on doing some gel printing tomorrow. And we can add some interest using white paint, and that'll give the ink a chance to dry. And I can figure out what I want to do because I kind of feel like it needs something like there and maybe over here, maybe coming off that side. So we're going to stop here for now and I'll be back. Okay, so my ink is all dry. We're going to set him aside, and I've got off to the side here my 5x7 jelly plate, and I've put some white paint on it. And I'm going to roll the paint out on the plate to use as essentially an ink pad. Now, I was originally thinking I was going to do like circles and use things like this thing of packing tape, takeout cup to make some circles. And then I saw I had pulled out and saved. This is from a thing of Brussels sprouts. And I was like, I kind of like the idea of using this to create some marks, but we're going to test it first because I haven't used it yet. And I don't want to mess up my canvas. So I've got, this is a piece I was just playing around with. I actually tried doing a image transfer using this piece of I think it was a bar journal page that did not work so great, but I got ink on the page and I was like, I can just play around with this. So we're gonna see what happens if so what I'm gonna do, here, let me show you what I'm gonna do so you can see it, is I'm gonna stick this down. I'm gonna grab something else so I don't get ink all over my hands or paint all over my hands. Press that in lift that up, put it over here, and press it down, and we'll see what we get. Oh, that's kind of interesting. I think I need to be like press more down to get more on here, but I think we're gonna use, you know what? Let's see, do I want to just cut a piece smaller so it's a little bit more manageable? I think we're gonna do that. A little bit more manageable. We're gonna give it a try. Fingers crossed we don't mess up our background, which it shouldn't. We should be all right. So I'm gonna put my smaller piece down. I'm gonna grab this piece of Amazon packaging. Make sure I get full contact on there with that piece so that it picks up the paint. Then I'm gonna stick it over here and grab a clean piece and press it down. And hopefully we'll get some marks on there. A little bit, not as good as on the piece of paper. Let's put some more paint down. That might be the issue, that there just wasn't quite enough paint. That's kind of cool. Yeah, still not working as good on here as I was hoping. All right, we're gonna change course so I can see better where I want stuff. Yeah, it just looks like paint peeled up over there. So it's not working as well as I had hoped. So we're just gonna do some circles. I tried to pull the cool pattern that was coming off on here, and so there may be a little blue in this. Okay, I'm gonna do one more thing. I grab the dark purple. I am gonna grab an old gift card and stick it in and just add some marks like that. I don't know that this is the same purple. I thought it was that purple, but I don't think it is. Am I on screen? Oh, good. It's like, am I even on screen? All right, I think we're good for mark making on this guy. Just realized there is one more thing I need to do. I need to get my number on here somewhere. Also need to try and remember what day this is going up for, because... All right, we're gonna glue him down. All right, I'm just grabbing a Posca pen. I'm gonna put my initials. Debating, do I want to put, and we're just gonna do it down here at the bottom. Because, see, that's the problem. Doing it like that, let's wipe that off, makes me think I did it in the year 22. So, yeah, we're going to put it up here. So we know it's day 22. So I'm going to call him. No, he's not done. I got to outline him. I've got to outline him. Let's pull out our pen and outline him. Oh, I'm going to have so much cleanup after I finish. Okay, now he's finished. And I love him. I'm so looking forward to putting him up on my wall. I love him. All right, so that's all for today. If you enjoyed this video, please do all the things that let YouTube know you enjoyed the video. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, leave me a comment down below. Thanks for joining me, and happy crafting.